Elizabeth Short arrived in Los Angeles with a dream of becoming a film star. Yet in January 1947, her name became famous for a completely different reason. After a murder so shocking that it still remains unsolved more than 75 years later. How did a young woman with Hollywood dreams become the center of one of the most famous crime mysteries in American history? Elizabeth Short was born on July 29, 1924, in Boston, Massachusetts. Her family was not rich, but during her early childhood life felt normal and hopeful. Her father worked in construction, and the family lived a simple life with Elizabeth and her 4 sisters. Then, during the Great Depression, everything changed. Her father lost his business and disappeared one day, leaving the family behind. For many years, Elizabeth's mother believed he had taken his own life. Without a father and with little money, the family struggled to survive. Elizabeth's mother worked long hours, and the children grew up in a difficult situation. Even so, Elizabeth often dreamed about a brighter future. But that dream would slowly pull her toward Hollywood. As a teenager, Elizabeth had health problems and spent some winters in Florida, where the warm weather helped her lungs. While living there, she enjoyed the beach, the sunshine, and the feeling of freedom. Friends later said she liked attention and enjoyed dressing well. Hollywood movies also filled her imagination. Like many young people at that time, she believed Los Angeles was a place where dreams could come true. Film magazines showed pictures of stars living exciting lives. Eventually, Elizabeth decided she wanted to try her luck there. At the age of 19, Elizabeth finally learned that her father was still alive. He had started a new life in California. After years without contact, she traveled west to meet him again. At first, things seemed hopeful. Living in California felt exciting, and the idea of Hollywood was suddenly very close. However, the relationship between father and daughter soon became tense. After a few months, Elizabeth left his home and began moving between cities in California and Florida. She worked small jobs and stayed with friends when she could. Money was often tight, yet she continued to believe that something good might happen. Soon, her life would take a darker turn. By 1946, Elizabeth returned to Los Angeles once again. The city was full of soldiers returning from World War II, hopeful actors, and people searching for opportunity. Hollywood looked bright on the outside, but life there was not always easy. Elizabeth spent time in cafes and bars where young actors and workers often met. She told people that she wanted to become an actress, although there is no record that she had a real film role. Still, she liked the Hollywood atmosphere and the conversations about movies. Friends described her as friendly and polite. At the same time, her life was unstable. She did not have a permanent home and sometimes depended on others for a place to stay. Then, on a quiet morning in January 1947, everything changed. On January 15, 1947, a woman named Betty Bersinger walked along a street in the Leimert Park area of Los Angeles with her young child. At first, she thought she saw a broken store mannequin lying on the ground. When she looked closer, she realized it was the body of a young woman. Betty quickly went to a nearby house and called the police. Officers arrived within minutes, and the street soon filled with investigators and reporters. The discovery shocked everyone who heard about it. Soon, police identified the victim as Elizabeth Short. The news spread through Los Angeles at incredible speed. Newspapers printed large headlines, and radio stations reported the story across the country. People were shocked that such a crime had happened in a sunny neighborhood. Reporters quickly gave Elizabeth a nickname, the Black Dahlia. No one knows exactly who created the name first. Some believe it came from a popular movie called The Blue Dahlia, which had recently been released. Others say it came from Elizabeth's dark clothing and hair. Whatever the reason, the name stuck, and it soon appeared in newspapers everywhere. Yet the mystery was only beginning. Police began a massive investigation. Detectives interviewed hundreds of people who had known Elizabeth. Friends, neighbors, soldiers, and restaurant workers all shared small pieces of information. Some said Elizabeth had many friends in Los Angeles. Others believed she trusted people too easily. Detectives tried to understand her final days and the people she had met shortly before her death, but answers were difficult to find. The case became even stranger when letters started arriving at newspaper offices. The writer claimed to be the killer and sent personal items that had belonged to Elizabeth. Police examined the letters carefully. Investigators tried to trace fingerprints and handwriting. However, none of the clues clearly identified a suspect. The letters seemed to lead nowhere. Meanwhile, the public became fascinated with the case. Newspapers printed new details almost every day. Some stories were accurate, but others exaggerated the facts to attract readers. Elizabeth's private life was discussed in ways that shocked her family. In those years, crime reporting was often sensational. Reporters competed to publish the most dramatic story. As a result, rumors spread quickly. Among all the noise, the truth became harder to see. Detectives questioned many possible suspects over the years. Doctors, soldiers, and ordinary citizens all came under suspicion at different times. Some people even confessed to the crime, but their stories did not match the evidence. In total, police reviewed hundreds of names connected to the case. Each time investigators believed they were close to solving it, the trail disappeared again. The mystery grew deeper with every passing year. One challenge was the lack of modern forensic technology. In 1947, DNA testing did not exist, and many investigative tools used today were still decades away. Detectives relied mostly on interviews, fingerprints, and physical clues. Because of these limits, important evidence could not be tested the way it would be today. Some investigators later believed that modern science might have solved the case quickly. Instead, the mystery remained open. Over time, the Black Dahlia case became part of American culture. Books, films, and television shows explored the story again and again. Each new generation discovered the mystery and asked the same question: who killed Elizabeth Short? Many theories have appeared during the decades since her death. Some writers accused doctors. Others believed the killer was someone who knew Elizabeth personally. A few theories even connected the crime to organized crime groups. However, none of these ideas has been proven. Even the Los Angeles Police Department has never officially solved the case. The investigation file eventually grew to thousands of pages, filled with interviews, reports, and possible clues. Despite all that work, the answer remained hidden. Today, Elizabeth Short is remembered less as a person and more as a mystery. Yet behind the famous nickname was a real young woman who hoped for a better life. She was only 22 years old when she died. Her dream was simple: to find opportunity in Hollywood and build a future. Instead, her story became one of the most famous unsolved crimes in history. And after more than 7 decades, the question that shocked Hollywood still remains unanswered. The story of Elizabeth Short reminds us how quickly a dream can turn into a mystery that lasts for generations. If you enjoy exploring real stories like this, from crime cases to surprising moments in history, science, and human life, consider subscribing and liking the channel. Each episode brings a new true story while helping you build stronger, more natural English through storytelling. Let's summarize the main ideas quickly. Unsolved, not yet explained or understood. The mystery of the missing plane remains unsolved. Crime mysteries, stories about a crime that is difficult to solve. I love reading crime mysteries on the weekend. Hopeful, feeling positive about the future. After the interview, she felt hopeful about getting the job. Leave behind, to go away from a person or place permanently. He had to leave behind his home and friends. Brighter future, a better and more successful life later. Many people move to a new country for a brighter future. Come true, to become real or to really happen. I hope my biggest wish will come true this year. Try your luck, to attempt something when you are not sure you will succeed. She decided to try her luck in the big city. Tense, making you feel worried and not relaxed. The atmosphere in the room was very tense before the test. Take a turn, to change and start to develop in a different way. Her life took a turn for the better after she moved. Depend on, to need someone or something for help or support. Small children depend on their parents for everything. Victim, a person who has been hurt or killed by someone. The police are trying to identify the victim of the crime. At incredible speed, very, very fast. The car was moving at incredible speed. Massive, very large in size, amount, or number. The company made a massive profit last year. Suspect, a person who police believe may have done a crime. Police have arrested a suspect in the robbery case. Rumors, stories people talk about that may not be true. There are many rumors about the famous actor. Rely on, to trust or depend on someone or something. In the past, sailors relied on the stars to find their way.